Hi everyone, Dr. Remy from Pain Free and Fit and Walk Away Back Pain. Today we're going to be going over some advanced concepts in walking for those of you with retrolisthesis in terms of building on what we've already learned in previous videos on arm and hip extension. Hope you enjoy. So in previous videos, we discussed for lower back retrolisthesis some great self-rehab, self-management skills by using walking exercises. We all walk every day anyway, so why not modify or change the form or the way we walk to decrease stress on our retrolisthesis in the lower back and actually aid the body in the healing process. Previously, we discussed the need to increase the arch of the lower back because for those without any neural compromise with retrolisthesis, meaning without any stenosis or aggravation of their pain with extension, extension of course is raising the tailbone up and lowering the pubic bone so the whole pelvis tilts anteriorly, or raising the upper body backwards, both of those increase the curve of the lower back. And in retro, that actually is very helpful if you don't have neurological compromise. If you have neurological compromise, you need to learn what your RPI neutral spline is specific for you because increased extension may actually aggravate your pain. But here we're discussing many cases of retrolisthesis which do not have sciatic pain or stenotic pain going down to the legs, and pain isn't worsened with extension but actually relieved. Because the basic concept in retrolisthesis is as that vertebra has slipped backwards, there's been a lot of pressure on the disc and the flexion forces in the body. When we flex or bend forward, that takes the curve in the lower back and decreases it, causing mechanically that retrolisthesis to be forced backwards. By doing the opposite, or increasing the curve of the back by anteriorly rotating the pelvis, raising the tailbone, lowering the pube bone, or increasing the extension force or backwards bend of the upper body and thorax, we increase that curve in the lower back, and that actually helps to mechanically take that retrolisthesis vertebra and nudge it or encourage it to move slightly forward. Again, with retro, most cases are not so unstable where you have a big motion back and forth, but sometimes just a little bit of motion and force is all you need in the right direction to decrease the stress on all the soft tissues. The tensed facet joint capsules, the disc, the ligaments and tendons, the small stabilizing muscles in the back, the fascia, all respond to different tensions in different directions. And if you have too much of a flexion force, it many times is aggravating your retrolisthesis, especially if you walk with a forward head posture and a slumping upper body and with small steps and without a lot of hip or arm extension. Those types of repetitive forces through the day encourage flexion, which typically aggravates retro. So you may wonder why after a walk or after a long day your back is bothering you more. These micro stresses have been building up over the 5,000 to 10,000 steps of walking you've been taking each day. So previously we discussed that to increase that arch in the back and help with retro and help to encourage a more forward movement of that vertebra, we said by increasing the distance that the legs travel or the arms travel backwards while walking, both have an effect of increasing that arch. As the leg goes back, it encourages an anterior pelvic tilt, which causes the slope of the sacrum to increase and encourages more of an arch in the back. And as we increase the force and the distance that the arm travels back, it engages the latissimus muscle, which runs from our shoulder down into our lower back, which pulls and increases that arch in the back. So we talked about that previously, but today we want to build on those concepts and make them a little bit more advanced by tweaking them or tailoring them for your custom mechanics. Remember, no case of retrolisthesis or any type of back pain is generic. They're all specific and they all have to do with the unique postural and movement and stability issues and tendencies that we've developed over time. My lower back mechanics are different than your lower back mechanics, which are different than someone else's, due to my postural habits, my unique asymmetries, my unique imbalances in terms of spinal stability. So one of the things we need to think about is, as per leg extension or the leg back, we'll need to increase the distance that that leg goes back, or emphasize the backwards motion when we take each step with the leg, where that leg has a tendency to turn out more. If you view your walking, your steps from behind, you'll notice that one leg typically has a tendency to angle out. The foot and the kneecap have a tendency to angle out more. That's called external rotation of the hip, and typically that's going to be the side of the weaker buttock and the tighter hip flexors, where you won't be able to extend as much. So If you identify that, you'll actually be able to help correct that by focusing on that side, traveling back a little further or holding it back a little longer than the opposite side. Likewise, on that leg that has a tendency to externally rotate, the buttock being weaker is usually flatter. So sometimes you can have someone view you from behind, or you can actually look at your own body in a mirror and you can see one buttock appears to be flatter. That's the atrophied or weaker buttock. That's the side you want to emphasize more of a backwards movement while you're walking also. In addition to that, if you have tight hip flexor muscles, pain in the groin in the front where the leg is, you constantly have to stretch your leg out. It feels tight moving it back. That also is the side you want to move back more on. So using these more advanced concepts, trying to identify which side do I want to emphasize can go a long way, because after you walk around the house, around the office, even out for a fitness walk, all those steps emphasizing one leg back, you'll notice many times your back will feel freer, your whole body mechanics will feel more balanced. You'll be doing yourself a lot of good in terms of the stresses that are in part of that retrolisthesis, because you'll be increasing extension on that side and helping that innominate or pelvic bone to rotate more forward, which will aid in the stresses that are imparted to retrolisthesis. Likewise, with the shoulder, we talked about increasing shoulder extension or shoulder swing backwards, both the distance of the shoulder and the force of the shoulder. Many people with postural problems such as rounded shoulder postures have a tendency to have a weaker latissimus muscle on that side, because as the shoulder rounds, the lat muscle is pulled, and as it's pulled, it's lengthened and weakened, so you won't have as much force. So if you view yourself in the mirror, and normally if the front of the shoulders are flat, and you notice one side is more rounded or scooped out or hollowed in the front, that's the side in particular you want to swing that arm back a little further or hold it back in your walking mechanics, because that's going to help to undo tightness in the pec. It's going to facilitate more latissimus action, and with more latissimus action, you're going to get more of an arch in the back, which will help to prevent that retrolisthesis from moving backwards, but encourage it to be tensed forward, alleviating soft tissue stress and pain. If you like this video on advanced concepts for hip and arm extension while walking for retrolisthesis, feel free to subscribe to our channel. We've got a lot of great videos out there to help you. Questions or comments, write in. As always, I'll do my best to answer them. Thumbs up to help me share this valuable information with others. And remember, if you're looking for a great program to put together concepts of how to analyze your body mechanics as they relate to your retrolisthesis, check out our Fast Track program for retrolisthesis, available at painfreeandfit.com. It has a full body analysis. It teaches you how to analyze which direction or movements are going to be good for your unique retrolisthesis, how to tailor and build a custom rehab program on your own that includes walking, that includes exercises that you do in the gym, exercises at home, coordination, stretching exercises, all of these put together to get the best type of self-rehab you can get on your back to change the mechanics, to decrease stress on retro, and to help you get back into fitness. Likewise, we have the Walk-Away Back Pain program, which is specific for walking exercises. So if you don't have the need or the desire to go to the gym, you're against working out with weights, doing classic traditional exercises, you don't like separate rehab time to do at home, but you love to walk, you can get a lot of great exercises in, all with the walking form, by modifying things, including things we discussed today and a lot more to help with your lower back pain. I hope this video on retrolisthesis and advanced concepts in hip and arm extension helps you with your chronic lower back issues.